Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we are unlocking one of the most powerful and, honestly, most misunderstood parts of your credit score. We're talking about credit utilization.
You know that rule, right? The one you've heard a million times? Keep your credit card balances under 30%. It's like the #1 piece of financial advice everyone gives. But here's the thing. What if that rule isn't the whole story? What if focusing on that one number is actually causing you a ton of stress and maybe even holding your score back? Well, we're going to tackle this head on.
Okay, so before we start busting any myths, let's make sure we're all on the same page. We got to get the fundamentals right. So what exactly is credit utilization?
All right, first things first. This whole utilization thing, it only applies to a very specific type of debt. We're talking about revolving credit. You can think of it like a pool of money, right? You can dip into it, pay it back, and then dip right back in again whenever you need to.
So, to be super clear, this has nothing to do with your mortgage or your car loan or student loans. Those are what we call installment loans. Fixed payments over a fixed amount of time. Nope. For utilization, we are laser focused on accounts where the balance can go up and down, like your credit cards and lines of credit. That's it.
Okay, so the ratio itself. It's actually just simple math. All you do is take the total amount you owe on all those revolving accounts, and you divide that by your total available credit limits. But, and this is super important, the scoring models, they look at this ratio in two different ways. They look at it for each card individually, and they look at your overall ratio across all your cards combined.
So why all this focus on one little ratio? Well, check this out. It's because your utilization has a massive impact on your credit score. I mean, it's the main thing driving this whole amounts owed category, which, as you can see, makes up a whopping 30% of your FICO score. That's huge. It's second only to your payment history. This isn't some minor detail. It's a giant piece of the puzzle.
And that brings us right back to where we started, that famous 30% rule. Now, I'm sure it's advice given with the best of intentions, but is that really the number we should be shooting for? Let's just say the data, well, it tells a very different story.
Okay, look at this. This is fascinating. When you look at the actual data from Experian, a whole different picture comes into focus. People with those top-tier, exceptional scores, we're talking 800 and up, they aren't even close to 30%. Their average utilization, it's just 6.5%. And even the folks in the very good range are only at about 15%. So what does that tell you? It tells us that 30% isn't some magic target to aim for. It's more like a ceiling, a high one, that you really want to stay way, way below.
In fact, if you listen to the credit experts, the real sweet spot, the place where you can get the maximum points, is actually between 1 and 10%. But wait, here's a crazy twist, something you probably wouldn't expect. Having a 0% balance reported on every single one of your cards, that's actually not ideal either. And you might be asking, why? Well, it's because the scoring models want to see that you're actively and responsibly using credit. If everything's at 0, they have no recent activity to score you on. It's like you're invisible for that month.
Okay, so this next part, this is the single biggest key to mastering credit utilization. Seriously, once you get this, it's going to change everything about how you think about your credit cards. The big secret is this. It's not about when you pay your bill. It's all about what balance gets reported. So let's walk through the timeline of a typical month. You're out there, you're using your card, making purchases, and your balance is going up. Then your statement closing date arrives. On that specific day, your card company takes a snapshot of whatever your balance is at that exact moment. And that's the number they report to the credit bureaus. Here's the kicker. Your actual payment due date? That's usually weeks later. Your score is based on that earlier snapshot, not on the balance you have on the day you pay. Think about what this means. You could be the most responsible credit card user on the planet, right? Let's say you have a $5,000 limit. You charge $4,000 and then you pay it off in full on time every single month. You're perfect. But if your statement happens to close when that $4,000 balance is sitting there, guess what the credit bureaus see? They see an 80% utilization rate. And even though you pay it off later, your score will take a temporary hit because of that high balance snapshot. Okay, now for what might be the most relieving part of this entire explainer.
Seriously, if you've been stressing about this, understanding this next concept is going to feel like a huge weight off your shoulders. It's the key to taking so much unnecessary stress out of the equation. I saw someone in an online credit community put this perfectly. They said, utilization is a temporary metric. And that's exactly right. Think about it. A late payment can stick to your credit report for 7 long years. But your utilization? In most scoring models, it has no long-term memory. It's like it has amnesia.
So what does no memory mean for you? It means you can relax. If you have 1 month with a really high reported utilization, maybe you made a huge purchase or went on vacation, your score will probably dip. But the very next month, as soon as you pay that balance down and a low number gets reported, your score just bounces right back up. It's as if that high utilization month never even happened. Now, there's a little caveat here. Some of the brand new scoring models, like FICO 10T, are starting to look at trends over time. But for the vast majority of scores being used right now, it resets completely every single month.
So this all leads to a really important question, right? If this isn't some long-term thing that builds your credit over time and it just resets every month, when do you actually need to focus on it? When should you even worry about micromanaging this number?
And the answer is not all the time. You really only need to optimize your utilization when you need your score to be at its absolute peak. So we're talking about the 1 or 2 months right before you apply for something big, like a mortgage or a car loan. For those moments, you want to be strategic. So let's lay out the game plan to take control.
Okay, here's your 3-step game plan. It's super simple. Step 1. Pay before the statement date. When you know you're about to apply for a loan, pay your balance down to that sweet spot, under 10%, before your statement closes. That way, you guarantee a low balance snapshot gets reported. Step 2. Increase your denominator. This just means keeping your old no-fee credit cards open. Don't close them. Their credit limits add to your total available credit, which automatically pushes your utilization ratio down. And finally, Step 3. Avoid the all-zero penalty. You want to let just one card report a tiny little balance, think 10 or 20 bucks, while you pay the rest off to zero. This shows the system you're actively using credit, and that's the perfect state for most scoring models.
So when it's all said and done, the biggest thing to take away from this is a total mindset shift. You can stop stressing about your utilization every single month. Just keep using your cards responsibly, keep paying your bills in full. But now, in those critical months before you need to apply for new credit, you know exactly which levers to pull and when. Your credit utilization isn't some scary, confusing rule to be feared. It's a powerful tool, and now you're in control.